and welcome to another episode of Perfection Unfolding with me, your host, Cara G. Welcome to the freaking show. This week, I'm coming back a little bit better than last week. Last week, I was crashing out. Last week, hopefully you got something out of that self-sabotage video. My friend I used to work with, he DM'd me today and was like, that part about the twisted gratification you get from doing the self-sabotaging behaviors, and I'm like, right. And like what makes it worse is the self-awareness that you're doing it. But anyway, how we doing this week, guys? We're having a good time? Is the energy weird? I feel like the energy is weird. That's me personally. Don't let me project. But I will say, like, the second I started sitting down to like write up my notes for this podcast, I started feeling better. So that's a little pro tip if you're feeling cruddy and like you have no idea what you're doing with your life. Just do something creative. Do something you said you were going to do, and then you'll feel better. You'll have the like satisfaction of knowing you did something that you said you were going to do, which feels good. So that's a dopamine hit. And then you also have this thing that you made, another dopamine hit. So like it's a win-win. Welcome to the show. If you are new here, good for you. So happy to have you here. This show is basically, I just a couple years ago, I just decided that like I am perfect at my core, and that my whole life is dedicated to like removing all the things that make me less than perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm uncovering my perfection. It's unfolding every day, and I'm just doing all the self-development work just to help me get there, help me get to the core. So that's your vibe. Welcome to the show. If you've been listening, thank you again. Appreciate you, fam. Every single day I get like a different DM from like a friend or a family member, and who are like listening, and every time it surprises me every single time. But every time I get those DMs or those messages, I'm just like, wow, you guys really do love me. You really do think I'm doing something neat. It's not just me talking into a void. I'm going to keep doing it regardless because I'm crazy. But I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. So if you've been following along with this Inner Child series, today is going to be the third installment of the Inner Child series. But first, before we get into that, I want to do some housekeeping. Apologies in advance. I am running ads on Spotify now. Ooh, shoot, don't kill me. Don't kill me, okay? I just figured Spotify is an evil corporation anyway. Love you. Just kidding, I don't love them, but it's an evil corporation anyway, so I just figured might as well make my buck, right? Might as well make my buck. Sorry if that makes you feel any type of way, but YouTube's still free. YouTube, you can watch all the videos ad-free because I have a total of 36 subscribers. So we will not be monetized anytime soon. And if I ever am monetized on here, which that's the goal, it's fingers crossed. I mean, the goal isn't monetization. The goal is helping people and like spreading the word, but monetization along the way would be cool. Then I'll have a Patreon, and then, there'll be ad-free stuff there. But I'm not going to worry about that until the time comes. But I mean, the time came, they offered me like ad rolls on Spotify. I said, sure, let's just see what comes of this. All 5 people who listen on Spotify, including my mom. Love you, Sue. So if you don't want the ads on the Spotifys or on the Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening to the podcast, YouTube is always an option. And you don't have to watch it. You could just, plug your little headphones in or Bluetooth your headphones and just listen while it plays in the background of whatever you're doing. Okay? So that's housekeeping number 1. Housekeeping number 2, Baby is hosting their first event. And by Baby, I mean me, and also Perfection Unfolding as the brand itself. Yes, Perfection Unfolding presents Aura Alchemy. Round of applause. I basically have, as you guys know, if you've been listening, you know that I make my own aura spray, which is just a combination of, different organic essential oils, a little bit of witch hazel, some filtered water, and any other kind of botanical, fruity, flowery hydrosol that I get my hands on that I'm in the mood to use that day. A lot of times it's rose water. Yeah, and then I bless it, and I put good intentions and good vibes into it, and then I just spray it all over myself whenever I'm feeling like I need to pick me up. Um, so with that in mind, I was thinking of like ways that I could bring that into real life to have other people make their own aura spray too. And yeah, so I'm hosting Perfection Unfolding is hosting their first event, my first event, at my house on Friday, August 8th. If you are in the Dallas DFW area, there are 8 spots left, 10 spots total. It's going to be very intimate, very like low key, very cool. I'm going to make some tea for all of us. We're going to make our aura spray. We're going to set our intentions. It's going to be a full moon. It is the 8/8 Lionsgate portal for all my astrology girlies out there. If you know that this is just like an incredible time to like release shit and to call shit in. Like um yeah, like 8 is all about like transformation and just numerologically, whatever. The number 8 represents like change, and I think I'm not like an expert, but anyway, the full moon itself is already a time to like illuminate what's working and what's not working, letting go of what's not working and then calling in what you do want, what you do desire. So this is just like an extra special full moon, if you will, to kind of recalibrate for the rest of the year. Yeah, and also because I didn't want to just do aura spray, we're also going to be doing some intention setting with the aura spray. We're going to be doing some affirmations, some gratitude journaling, and also a release, like illumination and release guided journal activity. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, um, and you're into tea, because I'm gonna have some tea for us and some light refreshments, you can sign up at perfectionunfolding.com/shop. Oh my god. To secure your spot. If you are a creepy person, do not come. You are not invited. But if you are a cool person who's regular and whom I can trust, to come to my house and not be weird, um, please come. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've already had 2 signups from two of my good friends, who I've met in the dance world, in 2 separate dance worlds, one from the salsa world, one from like the hip hop Team Athena world. So we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna set our intentions. We're gonna release the shit that we don't want anymore, and we're gonna make our aura spray and have this talisman of like good energy that we can use whenever we need it. So that is that. Tickets are $35. Again, it is this Friday, August 8th from 7 to 9. Um, yeah, I would love to see you. Or if you're in the area, tell a friend, and send them my way. I would love to host. I'm very excited. Part of my goal for this podcast and for this brand and for this concept of perfection unfolding is to create a world. Like, I want to create a perfection unfolding world where, it's a little bit woo woo, but it's a little bit practical, and it's a little bit, um, spiritual, and it's a little bit grounded. Like, I just like the idea of practical spirituality, grounded spirituality, um, being goofy and being serious at the same time, like holding space for multiple truths. Hence, the yin yang kind of vibe I've got going on with my logo. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to do. So this is like my first kind of trial and error situation to see what lands, see what works. Yeah, I'm excited. So that's Aura Alchemy, Friday, August 8th, 2025, from 7 to 9 at my casita, at my house. Yeah, sign up at perfectionunfolding.com/shop. Okay. Third thing, I am wearing, speaking of shopping, I'm wearing my own merch. You've probably seen this shirt before. The Perfection Unfolding tee. This is an organic cotton tee. Or I think it's not organic. It might just be cotton. I think it's organic cotton, but tie-dye tee with the Perfection Unfolding wave. And then I have the little icon on the side, my little Perfection Unfolding icon. This is also up on sale on my site. I'm never going to make merch that I do not wear and do not rep. This shirt is so comfy. It's an oversized tee. It's the blanks are made by Shaka Wear, so it's a super thick like tee, like super thick, super high quality. So if you're interested in that, you can find that on my website as well at perfectionoffolding.com/shop. I got lots of things going on right now that are kind of I'm just kind of throwing them out there left and right. Like, you get this, you get that. And I'm just kind of seeing what sticks. So I literally sold nothing yet, but I'm not doing this with the goal of just making money. I'm doing this with the goal of, like, again, creating a world, creating this like sustainable thing. So I love my merch. I love the event I'm putting on, and that is my North Star at the end of the day. So I'm just here to share that with you if you feel so inclined. Okay. Last thing. Welcome to episode 33. Like, I just wanted to give a shout out to the show existing for 33 episodes. Weird, crazy. I can't, like, I'm looking back, and when I ended season 2, that was episode 22, and I'm like, that felt like ages ago. It's like somehow 33 feels like such a big number and such a tiny, tiny little number at the same time, because 22 felt like a million episodes to me when I was done with season 1. But now I'm like episode 33, and I'm like, I feel like I have so much more to go. So I don't know. I'm just wanted to take a second to kind of just, I don't know, give myself a shout out. Shout out to you. Shout out to me. Again, like, I really am so shocked that people listen to this, not in a like, not in a shocking way, like, oh, the show is so bad, but in a shocking way of like, I'm kind of just shook that I'm producing stuff that people want to listen to. Again, not in a way where to like shit on myself, but just in a way I'm like, I'm so glad it's not just me who cares about this stuff. You know what I mean? I do feel crazy sometimes, but every time I share, there's always people who come out the woodwork talking about, thank you, and yes, girl. And I'm like, you guys do get it, and I love that. And like I told you before, I selfishly am trying to build this world so I can just draw all the people who are going to be my friends in the future to me. Because finding y'all, like going out in the world and looking for y'all, that's too much work. So this is my mating call. Ah! Welcome. Okay, let's get into the topic of the day, the meat of this episode. How to do the work, right? Like inner child work itself. Episode 1, we talked about what is an inner child. Episode 2, we talked about how we know the inner child is wounded. Episode 3, we're talking about reparenting the inner child, what inner child work actually is, right? So if you are like new to this little mini series, go back and watch the first 2 so you have a little bit of context. This is the 3rd installment of this little mini series. There's going to be 4 episodes in total. I thought there would have been 5, but I think I've landed on 4. 4 feels good. So, took a lot of notes. So, okay, so I will be ring ding 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 my little laptop. I'll be going through my notes. My laptop is so hot. Wow. Now I know why people do this podcast at desks. So, topic of the day: how to heal your inner child. A ring a ding ding. So I looked up this article on health.clevelandclinic.org, and I'm taking a couple of references from this article on this website because, again, I want to bring you guys real life practical tools. Like, I don't want you thinking that I'm just making all this stuff up and just being like, hey, kids, do all these things because I said so. That's weird. Oh, there's my notes. So I'm using a source, this article called How to Heal Your Inner Child. And it's essentially like this psychologist named Susan Albers. She's a psychologist, Susan Albers. She's the one who's being like interviewed for this article to like give her point of view as a psychologist. So I'm going to quote her a couple times throughout this, going through these steps. So essentially, how to heal your inner child. I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps in total. I followed sort of the article and what they said, but I added my own stuff in as I went. So I came up with 5 steps. And if you guys are interested in like getting some kind of like digital breakdown of these 5 steps, post this episode so you can see it with your eyes, like, let me know. I'll make you a little something. Maybe I'll put it up on the website. Maybe a little freebie for you. That's how people do like business, right? There's like lead magnets. I don't know. I'm just a girl, okay? So I came up with 5 steps. I came up with step 1, that's meeting your inner child. Step 2, acknowledging and listening to what they have to say. Step 3, reparenting / regulating your inner child's nervous system, aka your nervous system. Step 4, do things you used to love doing as a child, aka like give yourself inner child play dates. Like we got to do things that we like to do as kids to kind of reconnect us with our inner child. And then step 5, notice when your inner child is healing. So let's start with step 1, shall we? Or actually, let's just start with like, what is inner child work, right? Because everyone's like inner child work, inner child work. It's this buzzword that's kind of going around, and it's, if you don't know, you can hear that phrase and just think to yourself, like I said in one of the other episodes, like I don't have a small child living inside of me. Like, how do I even know what that is? And then I'm supposed to work on it now? Like, help. So, psychologist Susan Albers says, inner child work is about reparenting yourself and giving yourself the emotional response you would have needed or wanted as a child, but doing it right now at your current stage in life. So essentially, like, giving yourself what your parents didn't give you, right? Because now you're an adult, you have more context, you have more awareness, you have more capacity for complexity, you understand things now because you have like the literal cognitive ability to understand, unlike your childlike self. You couldn't hold space for multiple truths, you didn't understand context or nuance. So yeah, you're essentially, inner child work is just giving yourself what you needed as a child, but at your current stage in life. She goes on to say, inner child work is about understanding the very vulnerable parts of ourselves and nurturing ourselves with self-compassion and self-acceptance. Ooh, you ever done that before? If you haven't, welcome. You got some work to do. Yeah, so like understanding the very vulnerable parts of ourselves and nurturing ourselves with self-compassion and self-acceptance. How many of you as adults have accepted yourself just the way you are? The people in the back? What was that, a whisper? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's because there's a part of you who's still carrying on like the ways in which our parents didn't like accept us for all of our annoying bits and all of our inconvenient bits. Like, do you know what I mean? So like they planted those seeds, they watered them, now they're not watering them, and now we're watering them as adults. Nothing we do is ever good enough. Nothing we do, we're like, oh, we could have done that better. We're like smack talking ourselves every second of the day. God forbid we just accept ourselves just the way we are. Welcome to Perfection Unfolding. Good to have you. So that's inner child work. Like that is like the baseline, is you are just giving yourself as an adult what you needed as a child. And you're doing it through the framework, through the lens of thinking of yourself as like a child. You know what I mean? Like holding space for the child that lives inside of you, aka, like I said in episode 1, we are all the ages we've ever been, right? So it's you holding space for this, like, because they're the child that lives within you, because when you were wounded as a kid, you get frozen in time to a degree. Like that pain, that wound got stuck in you. And if you don't look at it, and if you don't care for it, if you don't appreciate it and have compassion for it and accept it, it's going to stay there. It's going to stay stuck in your body, and it's not going to be fun. So that's inner child work, is we're literally trying to reverse engineer that with self-love, compassion, and acceptance. Susan Albers, the psychologist, goes on to say, the goal of healing your inner child is to make sure you fully process both positive and negative experiences from when you were younger, so you can move past them with a renewed understanding of your worth as a human being with very real thoughts and feelings. Woo! Let's read that one more time. The goal of healing is to make sure you fully process both positive and negative experiences from when you were young, so you can move past them with a renewed understanding of your worth as a human being. How many of us feel worthless as adults because we never got the love and affection we needed when we were kids? I mean, I don't feel worthless. I can't really raise my hand with like full confidence. But there have been times in my life where I was very sad and very much so felt like if I just disappeared, the world would be a better place. Who can agree? Who's with me? I've definitely had that experience. That was before I started any of this work back in college when I weighed almost 200 pounds and hated myself. And it wasn't like a hatred for self, it was like a hatred for circumstance. It was like I hated myself for putting myself in that circumstance. Not because I was fat, but just because I was miserable. And the fatness was just a symptom of the misery, you know? Um, yeah, like the major key to this is processing both positive and negative. So like inner child work, we think, we've got a wound, we need to focus on the negative, but it's also reconnecting with your sense of childlike wonder, reconnecting with your sense of childlike creativity, curiosity, like all the best parts of ourselves, right? And I get into that a little bit later after we talk through the steps. So, how do we do this, right? How do we do the work? How do we reparent ourselves? How do we heal our inner child? How do we know what to do to how do we start, right? Step 1. I think this is a good place to start is you got to meet your inner child first. Because right now you're like, okay, Cara, inner child work. Great. I'm on board. This sounds like an awesome thing. You're telling me this is going to be like the most important work I can do for myself? Like, I'm on board. Sign me up. Who the hell's my inner child? And to that I say, I have no idea who yours is, but you got to meet them. Only you can meet them. I didn't know you as a kid. I can't do that for you. So, how do we do this? I think the best way to meet your inner child, and this is what I did. So, anecdotal advice, a lot of times you can seek out therapy to help assist with this. There are plenty of people out there who specialize in inner child work, I'm sure. But if you want to do it like solo dolo and you want to do it on your own, which that's what I did because I couldn't afford therapy, and also like this is really vulnerable work. So if you're not comfortable doing it in front of somebody, which I understand, maybe these other two options will work for you. So I personally think like meeting your inner child via meditation is the like most profound way to meet your inner child. Um it's like that's what I did essentially. Like I did a inner child meditation on YouTube like when I first learned about this concept, and it was crazy. It was crazy. I sobbed a lot. I apologized. It was just such a I can't think of any other word other than profound. Like it changed me in a way that was felt on a cellular level. That's what I recommend, and I will be dropping a link to a inner child meditation, meet your inner child meditation in the description below. Whether you're on, wherever you listen to this podcast, it's going to be in the description. Um, I think it's a good one. It's been viewed by millions of people, and you go through the comments, and they're like, "Oh my God, this changed my life." Blah blah blah. I think meditation's the best way because it's a way for you to just like you're locked in, right? Like you're focused, you're relaxed, you're in a safe place. Um, you're not worried about anything else. Like everything is happening in your mind's eye. Like you're visualizing your inner child, you're talking with them, like you're communicating with them. I think it's just really special, like the meditation part of it. I think you could also meet your inner child through journaling, right? Um, and I kind of wrote down a list of like things to ask yourself, like questions to ask yourself to get the your inner child to kind of come forward, to feel safe enough to like express itself through your journal, through your writing. Both of these mechanisms and these ways of meeting your inner child, they both take like courage. Okay. Like they both take courage to be vulnerable. Now, a lot of people have blocks of being vulnerable with themselves, let alone like trying to, let alone like, it's like you don't, if you don't have the capacity to be vulnerable with yourself, this is going to be really, really difficult because you have to allow yourself to go there. You have to allow yourself, if you're going to do this meditation through the YouTube link, or if you're going to meditate on your own, like you have to allow the information to come up, which takes courage, which takes um vulnerability. It's a very intimate thing you will be doing with yourself. I mean, that's kind of one of the problems of avoiding this work. The reason why people avoid inner child work in general is because of how intimate it is. Like it's because it takes you looking at yourself with such a vulnerable like lens and opening yourself up to a lot of these scary memories and these like it's like you I talked to a coworker once and she was talking to me about therapy and her husband and some of the problems that she was having, and I said, "Girl, inner child work's going to change your life," because she had a really like kind of hard childhood, where she was neglected a lot, and she was like, "That's the one thing I can't touch. That's the one thing I can't touch." She's like, "I can't do that." She's like, "My therapist said the same thing, but that's the one thing I just can't do. It's too hard. It's too painful." And so even before you get into this, even before you try to get into this meditation or this journaling, like just sit with yourself for a second and just allow yourself to like feel that, allow yourself to, if it's scary, if it's whatever feelings come up for you when you think about doing this work, give yourself grace, okay? The thing you need the most is self-acceptance, self-compassion. Whether you're doing inner child work or not, give yourself some of that if you can. And then once you kind of mull over the idea of doing this work and like being in the space where you can revisit your past and you can revisit your childhood, then dive into this. So let me just start off by saying that. So that's like step point 0.5 before you get to step 1. So how to meet your inner child through meditation or through journaling. Now, if you do go to the link that I'm providing, like it's a guided meditation where this random man, he's going to be leading you through the meditation. I think it's about 30 minutes. Oh, it's 48 minutes long. So you want to be able to set aside some time. You want to be able to give yourself, like, whether it's the journaling or the meditation, give yourself a big old chunk of time, like several hours, maybe even like take the day, because it's going to be a lot of processing that's happening. It's going to be, it has the potential to be very emotional. Like don't be surprised if you have these like big emotions that come up. Like this is a very common occurrence when people do this work. So yeah, so give yourself a day, give yourself half a day, like be by yourself. Like this is not something that you're gonna want other people around to to like witness, unless that's just like your thing, like more power to you. I wanted to be in all my ugliness and I wanted to give myself all the time and space to just like do this work by myself. But that's me. I'm a hermit. If you have people that you want to do this work with, like that could be really cool too, I think. If maybe you and a friend do the meditation together and then you talk about it, I think that could be really powerful. So he'll be guiding you through that meditation. But if you're going to journal, I did write some questions down and I'm going to go through them quickly. Again, like if you would like these questions in some kind of like digital document that you can download, let me know. I'd be happy to share. But this is just kind of the stuff that came to my mind when I was doing this work, and I'm going to share it with you. Some of the questions to get you there, right? Some of the steps you can take when like visualizing in your mind. Both of these take visualization in your mind, obviously, but then the journaling, you're writing out the answers. And I also recommend, if you're going to do the meditation, like journal afterwards. If you're going to do the guided meditation on YouTube, journal afterwards and like write down all the things so you can remember and like go back and revisit. So some of the steps you can take when journaling and or meditating on your own is I want you to sit in a safe place alone. I want you to get into a relaxed position, either sitting or lying down, and then focus on your breath. Allow your body to relax into the floor, whether you're sitting or lying down. And then when you're ready, I want you to imagine the little version of yourself in your mind's eye. I want you to think of the little version of you and imagine they're standing in front of you. Notice how old they are. What do they look like? What are they wearing? Scan them from the top of the head to the bottom of their shoes. Notice what emotions they're conveying. Are they happy? Are they sad? You're going to be writing all this stuff down. And honestly, you can go through this part of the video and pause it if you want to do this to yourself for journaling. And then I want you to take a second and I want you to ask them what they have to say to you. What is it that they need to get off their chest and have you listen to? Listen with patience, love, and acceptance. Notice what they've communicated. Then ask them, what can I do to make you feel better? Ask them if there's anything you can do to make them feel heard. Ask what it is they need you to know most of all. What else do you truly need me to know? Is what you should ask them. Ask them any other questions you wish to know from your younger self. Let them know you hear them and that they are heard. Let them know that their future is going to be okay because you are the blueprint. You are the blueprint of survival. That you as an adult have conquered every challenge you've encountered. You did survive and thrive. Let them know that there's nothing to be scared of. Let them know that you as an adult are always here for them. Share all your adult wisdom, courage, and strength. Let them know that you are here to protect them, that you are the parent now, and you will do everything in your power to take care of them and protect them in every way. Now your inner child knows that you are their protector. Now you as an adult know you will honor, cherish, and respect your inner child's deepest wishes. Now realize that both of you and your shared experiences make up the entirety of who you are. In this moment, let your heart fill up with a total sense of acceptance and love. Acceptance for what you have both faced together. Acceptance for every new insight, letting your heart share every part of loving yourself. Gifting that acceptance to your inner child. Look at your inner child one last time in your mind's eye and see that they have received your love and acceptance. Before you leave, let them know that you can return anytime. So that's kind of just like a baseline of what that would kind of look like. To journal, to meditate, like you are essentially visualizing your inner child. And like, I always find it interesting, like when you ask somebody how old their inner child is, the varying answers. My inner child personally is about 5 years old. And I just think it's funny because there's usually a correlation between your first, like, real traumatic experience and then the age that you were. But my inner child's about 5 years old. She's got short hair, like a short haircut. Like my mom just got my haircut because she thought I had lice. I have the bangs. I have like the crooked teeth and the big old cheeks and the cheesy smile. And I got a little brown belly. And I'm wearing my purple overalls with my purple tie-dye shirt. I've been about this life since day one. Gang, gang. And yeah, like, and my inner child now, because I've done this work, like, when I see her in my mind's eye, like, she's happy, she's smiling, she's like, she's unbothered, she's just a child, she's living her best life, just like hanging out. She's like, yeah, you called? What's up? You know? And I can't really remember what my inner child, how she was feeling when I first did this work because it was so long ago, but I can tell you she wasn't peaceful, she wasn't happy. She was like pissed, actually. My inner child was livid. Like my inner child came out in like an outburst, but also just in like, I don't know, she was just so dejected. She was so dejected whenever I first started doing this work. And I remember thinking how horrible I felt seeing this little girl be so neglected and how much pain she had in her eyes and how deeply, deeply remorseful I felt for being responsible for that. Like, I wasn't responsible for the initial wounding, but I'm responsible for keeping it up, you know? And I remember just like falling to my knees. Like I'm in my mind's eye, like imagining this during the meditation. I remember like falling to my knees and just being like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Like nobody was there to protect you and I haven't been there to protect you. And you're just out here just like scavenging for love and affection and acceptance. And I have just totally been doubling down on that. I've been telling you you're a piece of shit. I've been telling you you're not good enough. I've been telling you that you're not accepted for who you are. I've been telling you that nothing you do is ever enough. And oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I could cry just thinking about it. Like, you would never talk to a child like that. And here I was, like, I think I was what, 25, 24, possibly 23, just like dogging on this 5-year-old, like she wasn't this angelic, perfect being. Like she wasn't this absolutely wonderfully creative, courageous, curious kid who I was just like, you were the fucking coolest kid I've ever met in my entire life. And shame on every adult who ever made her feel any differently than that. That's where perfection unfolding came from, was me talking to my inner child, talking about how dare anybody look you in your face, in your eyes, and tell you you're anything less than God incarnate. How dare? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So that's what came up for me. And from that moment on, from like meeting my inner child, I was like, I will protect you to the ends of the earth if it's the last thing I fucking do. I'm not going to let anybody abuse you. I'm not going to let anybody talk to you crazy. I'm going to be pouring love and affection and deep acceptance into you like it is like my job. Like, you are my child now. I am your mother. I mean, I feel like we're more like sisters, if I'm being honest, but like this is my kid. I am like, I have a kid to take care of now. Like it's no longer just me anymore. It's me and little me. So that's what this work brought up for me. That's my little anecdotal kind of how I did it. And I highly recommend the meditation, because the meditation, it just kind of opens up your mind to just really be able to go there. Whereas journaling, you're writing and it's a little bit distracting, like with the questions and stuff like that. But do what you feel called to. And honestly, like I just dove right into this stuff because I'm crazy. And I say crazy endearingly. Like I don't actually think I'm crazy. I think I just have an incredible capacity, an incredible curiosity to just dive into this work head first, because I'm like, what? I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Like when it comes to solving problems, especially when I'm the problem, I want to know how to solve it. I want to find a solution. And when I discovered inner child work, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to do it. And I just dove right in. Like I've always had a deep self-trust. So if you're somebody who struggles with self-trust, this might be a little bit difficult for you. So like know that going in. But all it takes to trust yourself is a little bit of courage. All it takes to do any of this is just a little bit of courage. Do it scared. Do it uncertain. I promise you, like getting to know yourself on a deep level like this is just going to help you out. Now, because it's rooted in loving your inner child and noticing that when you're not loving your inner child, like, or when somebody's triggering the wound of your inner child, those things that come up, this isn't necessarily going deep into your past and like rehashing the traumatic things that have come up for you. That could happen, I suppose, in theory. And I say the best way to prepare for that is to hold no judgment for what comes up, right? Like this is where the deep self-acceptance and the radical self-love comes into play. It's like towards the end of this meditation, the YouTube link I'm going to share, he says in the meditation where you tell your inner child, like, you're safe now. I got you. You're safe. I got you. Like, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, no one's going to hurt you like the way that you were hurt before, right? Like, I got you now. I'm going to take care of you. Like, no one can take that away from us. It's us now, and I feel like that's the most powerful part about this work is like, no one can take that from you. It's you and you at the end of the day. Like, you get to decide. You're in control. And one of the things that I feel like is so traumatizing when we're children is that We feel so unsafe because we're out of control. We can't control the situation. We are at the mercy of these people who are in charge of us. And that leaves us feeling so small and dejected and worthless and like we can't do anything about it. And this is a chance for you to take your power back and be like, nah, bitch. This is my story. This is my kid. I'm taking care of you. You're safe here, you know? And I don't know, it feels very empowering. And like that's just step one. It's like this and I wish this for everybody. I wish for everyone to have the experience of looking little you in the eyes and being like, you were the coolest fucking kid I ever met. You were the coolest fucking kid I ever met. And shame on any person who told you to shut up or sit down and be small. Because you are so cool and sweet and creative. And my God, you were just always so curious and you always had all these cool ideas and you just loved things. How can anybody hate something that loves things? Who is love? You know? Because that is what all of you are. That is you, that is me, that is all of us, you know? Like, and in doing this work, you start seeing the whole world through this lens of like, we're all just a bunch of kids just fumbling and bumbling around. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's hurtful, you know? But it's hard to hate people when you just see them for the wounds that they are. You see them and also for like the joy that they are, right? Kids are innocent, they're naive, they don't know any better. And when we're triggered and our kid is online, you know, I'm not excusing bad behavior at all, like at all, at all. And we get into that. So that's step one, meeting your inner child. Meditation, journaling, asking these questions, self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love. Boom, love it. Step two. This also, I mean, we do step two in step one, but it's acknowledging and listening to what they have to say. So I put this as step two because it's like, yes, we ask them what they need to tell us in this first meeting with them. But now the work is, okay, when, where, and why are they talking to us in our adult life, right? In episode 2, we talked about how we know we have an inner child wound. It's because usually the telltale sign is that it pops up whenever your inner child pops up whenever you're triggered, right? It's like if you have a big emotional reaction to something kind of small, that is a good indicator and a good example of when our wounded inner child is online. And when I say online, I mean like they're in the driver's seat. So in here I put, outside of listening to them in your initial meeting, you can always know your inner child is talking to you when you're triggered. When this happens, having awareness that your inner child is online is step one. Acknowledging why they're online is step two. And listening and validating the reason for them coming online is step four. And then this gets me into my driving analogy, right? So when I say my inner child is online, what I mean is like, I like to use this analogy of driving a car, right? So, and I talked about this in a different episode, but I'm gonna rehash it here now because this is like, it makes sense to do so. So me and my inner child, like when I think about my nervous system, right? And when I think about my like healthy ego, my healthy um personhood, like my regulated nervous system, I think about that as like a car. I think about that as um just like a solid car who gets me from A to B. Like I'm driving along, I'm cruising down the road, right? And I'm cruising down the road because adult me is driving the car, right? And when adult me is when I'm getting my oil changed in my car and when I'm getting my fluids checked and when I'm replacing windshield wipers, like that's me, adult me and my car driving and keeping things like maintained, right? I'm checking the boxes. I'm eating healthy meals. I'm getting sleep. I'm doing things that I love to do. I'm communicating and relating with people who I love. I'm in safe environments. The people who I relate with are safe with me. Like there is no danger. I'm safe. Now while I'm driving this car, because I have this inner child, right? This inner child wounding. My inner child is passenger princess, right? When I'm healthy and I'm taking care of my car and my driver's license is updated, like little me, she's a passenger princess. Hell, half the time she's sleeping. Half the time she's just asleep because she feels so safe and so protected. Like we're going to get from point A to point B. She doesn't have to worry about anything, right? That's when adult me is online. That's a majority of the time. I'm an adult woman. I act like an adult woman. My emotions are regulated like an adult woman majority of the time. And then something will happen where, you know, maybe I forgot to get my oil changed and I start my car starts putting, you know? Or maybe adult me didn't get enough sleep. So I start falling asleep at the wheel, right? And I start, kind of zooming off the road, kind of right and left. And those jolts from the car, they wake up little me in the passenger seat and she's like, "Whoa, what's going on here? You're falling asleep." And then if it keeps happening, I keep falling asleep at the wheel or, maybe a gasket burst or something and the car's going wrong, little me starts to panic. Little me starts to like wake up and she's like shaking me, trying to be like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, like wake up. Like what's going on? I'm scared. Like I'm not sure what's happening. I'm confused. I'm a child. I don't know how to drive, but I know that this feels scary. And then if it gets really bad, like let's say like, I'm in a toxic relationship with somebody, that could be equivalent of like, I'm drunk driving, I'm drunk driving this car. And little me is like, now little me's taking the wheel and she's like, "What the fuck? Like, I don't know how to drive, but I'm trying to save us. And you're drunk and you're blah, blah, blah." And then we crash the car. I love this analogy because it is like, it's just like, right. Because when little us, so when we get triggered, little us comes online. Little us starts driving the car, but little us doesn't know how to drive a car. Little us doesn't know how to be kind during hard conversations. Little us doesn't know how to not scream to get attention, right? Adult us knows that that's not how you get what you want. That's not how you communicate with people. But little us is doing everything in their power to try to drive a car at 5 years old without a license who can't even reach the brake pedal. Do you know what I mean? So it's chaos. And that's exactly what it's like when you're triggered and you don't have the coping mechanisms you need to self-regulate and to regulate your nervous system and or like talk yourself off the ledge. Those are all tools that adult you can develop, or adult you quote unquote should. I'm not going to should us. Shoulding means there's shame involved and I'm not going to should us. But in theory, if you were loved appropriately and properly and you felt safe as a child, you would have those skills, right? When you're a child, you blame it on your parents, but as an adult, you can't blame not being able to regulate your emotions on somebody else, right? Like, obviously, yes, if you were in a toxic relationship or if you're being abused in any kind of way, like, you have to do what you need to do to protect yourself. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is it's your responsibility now to make sure little you feel safe, to make sure you're taking care of your car, to make sure you're regulating your emotions, to make sure if you if you hit a bump on the road and little you kind of wakes up to peek like, "Hey, are we good?" You can say, "Absolutely, I got you. You're safe with me. It was just a bump. There's nothing to worry about." Right? I feel like that visual is just so freaking powerful, and I love telling that to people who've never heard it before. They're like, "Whoa, right." And it's like, I just and also I think it's just because my parents did a lot of driving when I was a kid, so, like, I had a lot of those experiences of, like, your parents, slam on the brakes when they're driving, and you wake up and you're like, "Am I dead?" And they're like, "No, all is well. It's just a little bit of traffic and someone was driving crazy," right? They give you that, like, your parents, aka you give your inner child that sense of security, like, it's okay, like, you don't have to worry about anything, and if anything does happen, I'm gonna take care of it, and we're gonna be safe, and I'm gonna protect you at all costs, right? But it's your job as the driver of that car that you aren't putting yourself in danger, that you aren't drunk driving, that you aren't falling asleep at the wheel, that you aren't texting, that you aren't putting on makeup. Like, you have to be focused and you have to be present and you have to be um responsible, right? Like, you are responsible not just for yourself, but for your inner child to make sure that you can show up in kindness, that you can be a loving person, that you aren't self-sabotaging your relationships, right? Because when you're drunk driving, you're doing all this other stuff that's chaotic and crazy. That's what happens. You might get lucky and come across like a good relationship, but then you don't have the capacity to hold it because you don't have the skills of emotional regulation. You don't have patience, right? You don't know how to get your needs met without yelling, screaming, crying, numbing out, avoiding running away, right? inner child work is how we get our needs met. Like we're asking for what we need, and we're putting ourselves in positions where we're safe and we're loved and we're taken care of, right? Not just that's our job, but also the people we surround ourselves with as well. So that's step 2. Step 1, meet your inner child. Step 2, acknowledge and listen to what they have to say constantly. That's like every time you're triggered, you have to sit there, give yourself the time to like, where is this coming from? What are they trying to tell me? What is the need that I need to give my inner child right now? Like, what are they asking for? Do they need sleep? Do they need a good healthy meal? Do they need a hug? Do they need love and affection? Do they need some time to play? Do they need a little time to journal, or do they need time to scream? Like, what is it? Step 3, reparenting / regulating their nervous system, aka your nervous system. So again, I talked about this in step 2, but step 2 is acknowledge and listen to what they have to say. Step 3 is now we regulate, right? Because we weren't given the skills when we were kids, it's our job as adults to learn those skills of how to regulate so that we can regulate both us and our inner children. So step 3, if you have a wounded inner child, it's usually a telltale sign that you were never taught how to self-soothe and regulate your nervous system by your parents or your caregivers. This lack of regulation just means that when you're overwhelmed, instead of self-soothing with deep, long breaths, and co-regulating with your parents or your loved ones, instead, when you felt unsafe, your nervous system would get flooded, your fight or flight response would kick into overdrive, and then when no one was around to help stabilize you in a safe environment or to repair with you after the unsafe event occurred, you were just left to figure it out on your own via numbing out, being destructive, literally insert any maladaptive behavior here. So that's what happened when you're a kid. You weren't taught to self-soothe or to co-regulate, or your parents never repaired with you. Like this explosive thing would just happen, and then you would just be left like wondering, like, it's because of me, right? I did all this. It's my fault. I'm a piece of shit, right? Yeah, not great. Not helpful. So, because we are adults, most of the time it is now our job to help our inner child self-soothe and regulate their nervous system when we are triggered. What does this look like? So this looks like a bunch of different things. So there's not one special way to regulate your nervous system. And essentially, when I say regulate your nervous system, I'm talking about like when we are scared, our fight or flight response comes on. And what that means is like our a system gets flooded with adrenaline, right? And then you go into the your sympathetic nervous system gets kicked on, which is basically like how you survive scary situations. Like your adrenaline kicks on, you have all this like energy, and it just like shoots you forward. So like if you needed to run away from a panther, you could, or if you, not that you can outrun a panther, but you get what I'm saying. If you needed to fight for your life, you've got like a good minute and a half of like adrenaline to just like pow, 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 pow. Now, when you're always anxious, your adrenal glands are always pumping, so like that's what makes you tired and stuff like that. But essentially, like your sympathetic nervous system gets kicked on, and so long as that's on, you have no ability to like think clearly. It's literally survival mode. You are in survival mode. You are in fight or flight. Like no matter what people are saying to you, you're fighting them. You're like, get the fuck off of me. I'm gonna, blah, blah, blah. Like there is no being logical. There is no like adult brain's turned off. Like when you're in fight or flight, like that kid's like, I don't care if we crash this car. We're gonna figure it out. Like there is no thinking of the consequences of your actions. Like you're just kind of like, whatever damage happens because I needed to get to a safe space, right? Now, the downside of this is that if you have a wounded inner child, or if you have, trauma in general, like this fight or flight will kick on at literally the drop of a pin. Like there's no danger around. Someone just sneezed at the wrong decibel and now you're pissed. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where our programming as humans gets a little bit wonky and where it gets unhelpful. Like when you're a kid and you're being abused, like your fight or flight can kick on and you run away. That was helpful when you were a kid. But now you aren't being abused anymore, and someone might, might clap too loudly or whatever. I don't know why loudness is like the thing that's coming to my brain, but you get what I'm saying. Like something like random could happen where you're in a safe space, but like your mind is interpreting it as like the same thing. So now you're in an argument with your significant other about something and you're starting to be defensive and they're like, what is happening? Like you're having this big emotion over something that doesn't match, right? So anyway, so I forgot that was a tangent. I'm sorry. Let me circle it back. Let me reel it in. So what does this look like? There's a bunch of different ways you can take your basically your fight or flight, which is your sympathetic nervous system. You can put it the goal is to get it back into parasympathetic. So parasympathetic is when you're calm and peaceful. Sympathetic is when you are like alert and scared, essentially. So to get yourself back into parasympathetic, or to basically calm your nervous system, to self-soothe yourself, like think about times when you get so worked up and you're like crying like that. These are tools you would be using to like bring yourself back down, right? To get yourself back into that calm, peaceful, parasympathetic nervous system energy is what we're going to call it. So this can look like counting to 10, right? Like if somebody says something that hits that wound of like, I'm not good enough, and you want to get defensive about it, you can just take a beat, count to 10 in your head, and then just like let that just like you like feel it in your chest, you feel like it's in your throat, you need to get it out, and just give yourself 10 seconds. Take a breath and realize, oh, they were just trying to express themselves and I interpret it as this old thing, right? So counting to 10, like that is like that's something you can do to help. Taking deep breaths. Like I do any of these exercises that are people call to ground myself. Grounding exercises are going to help you get back into that calm, cool, collected energy. It's going to bring your adrenaline down. So grounding exercises, like literally going outside and like sitting on the ground, taking deep breaths, doing box breaths where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. That's going to calm your heart rate down. It's going to slow down your breathing. You're physically getting your body to realize that it's safe, right? Because your body you're having a physical reaction sometimes to this mental information. So to reverse engineer that physical reaction, we must take physical action, right? So this looks like going for a walk to catch your breath and get some of the excess energy out of your body before you respond to partner, friend, family member, what have you. Like for me, I've seen these exercises people do online where they're like shake their body, like when they're angry or they're upset, like they just like they like give themselves like, first of all, you have to be like, hey, sorry, I need a minute. Can you go over there while I do my shakes? And they just shake the energy out of their body, like you make these weird noises, like whatever it takes to get it out of your body. Because a lot of times this wounding is from the physical, like the suppression of your emotions, which emotions are like the E stands for energy, right? It's like energy in motion. And if it gets stuck in the body, that's what a lot of times is being triggered and you need to get it out. You got to be like, maybe you got to scream. Obviously, if you're going to be screaming or anything, you need to tell the people around you like, hey, this isn't about you. I just need to get this out before I return to this conversation. But yeah, going for a walk to like physically remove yourself from the situation so you can get your head back on track, but with the knowing and letting your person know that you're going to come back to the conversation when you have a cool, calm, collected head. This regulating your nervous system and self-soothing could look like doing a physical activity to get us back into our parasympathetic state, which I already talked about. This also looks like giving ourselves permission to express our emotions, all of our emotions, in a safe space that includes anger and deep sadness. I know a lot of men, they're it's a generalization that men, deal with anger and women deal with sadness, but honestly, anger is just it's just like a cover up for sadness. And honestly, a lot of women, they have suppressed anger and men have suppressed sadness. Like, I think we need to like flip flop those. I mean, people in general have suppressed emotions across the board, but like part of this work is like, I've had to let myself be angry. Like, I've had to let myself be like, like rageful, you know? I'm not doing it in the middle of a conversation with somebody, but I'm going home, I'm writing in my journal, and I'm like screaming into my pillow to like get it out, you know? I'm doing it on my own time, but I'm still doing it. I'm still letting myself feel the feelings because they're valid, you know? Um, I also go on to say, as adults, we can hold space for children to have big emotions and feel their feelings while also lovingly hold boundaries and not allowing them to be destructive, right? Like when it comes to the inner child, like their feelings are valid. Like those being triggered, that's a very real experience. It's a very real feeling. You're having this physical reaction, like it is real. You're not making it up. So if someone's telling you why are you feeling that way? There's no reason to. It's like, well, bitch, it's happening. So whether I do or don't doesn't matter. It's happening right now. So it's like the feelings are valid, but what you do with those feelings, if you're destructive with them, we can't hold space for that. We don't hold space for being destructive. Like the feelings are valid. Let's feel those feelings, but let's not point them in any one direction at anybody, right? Like this is usually something that you're experiencing that's old, right? It's not even congruent to what's happening in your adult life, right? But you have to give yourself permission to feel the feelings. You have to like give the inner child the opportunity to feel all the feelings they weren't allowed to feel when they were kids, that they weren't safe enough to feel when they were kids. When you were a kid, right? That you weren't safe enough to feel when you were a kid. Yeah, I write in here, it's important to validate every feeling that comes up for you when you're triggered, especially if it wasn't safe for you to express yourself when you were younger. However, that doesn't mean you condone unhelpful behavior or lashing out because of those feelings. Just because the feeling is real doesn't mean the reaction is congruent to what's going on in your adult life. Boom. I wrote these notes, I didn't even need them. I go on to say this is where taking radical responsibility for your experience comes into play, especially as an adult. Um, where you can no longer blame your circumstance or your feelings on anyone else, including your parents. You are the parent now. You have the adult brain who understands nuance and context and the complexities of being alive. This is where you get the chance to remind little you that they are safe because you are there for them. They no longer have to scream and cry and act out or numb out to get their needs met. You get to remind them that their feelings are valid and that you hear them when they're scared. Because that's all a trigger is that you're scared that someone's attacking you. Because it reminds you of something that happened to you when you were a kid. That's it. So you get to give yourself 10 seconds. You get to give yourself some deep breaths. You get to give yourself a walk and remind that inner child that they're safe and that what they're feeling is valid. But, once you feel those feelings, like know that like you are safe. Like it's okay. You don't have to worry about trying to fight everybody all the time, right? Like, I got you. I'm going to fight our battles for us in a way that makes sense, that's logical and loving and kind, right? I said, once you've helped them regulate their emotions through the breaths, through the taking 10 seconds, through the standing and going to touch grass, like literally that helps, sitting in nature, going for a walk, shaking your body, screaming in a pillow, once you've helped them regulate their emotions, you've also regulated yours. And your adult brain can come back online. Your adult brain can drive that car, right? This is the part of reparenting yourself that takes the most practice and patience. But once you get the hang of it, your inner child always feels safe and trusts you to take care of them. It takes time and practice to get the hang of it, but you'll understand what I mean when you start this work for yourself. This is the bulk of the work, right? This is it, is step 2 and 3. It is the listening and having the awareness that your inner child's trying to talk to you, and then helping them regulate their emotions. This is the bulk of the work. So, those were just a couple examples that I gave you of how to regulate your nervous system. But there's like a million more, right? There's like so many more. And, do a little bit of a Google, do a little bit of research of just like how to ground yourself, how to bring yourself back to reality. A lot of times, like I use my aura spray as like a mechanism for bringing myself back to reality. When I'm feeling like I'm numbing out, or I'm feeling like I'm like a little bit, I'm getting a little bit sad, or I'm kind of getting in like a rumination loop in my head, I'll use the aura spray I'll spray it on myself, and that kind of like makes it gives my brain a chance to like pivot, right? To like create a new thought instead, because like sometimes I'll get in these circles. I might have OCD. Listen, I'm not a doctor. I don't know, but I've dealt with ruminating thoughts and cyclical rumination, in different parts throughout my life, different times throughout my life. And they always come when I'm stressed. It starts happening when I'm stressed. Stress is the trigger for me in every sense of the word. Like my maladaptive coping mechanisms is always comes from stress. Because what happens when you feel unsafe? You get stressed, and then you develop these coping mechanisms. So, yeah, those are just a couple examples of how to do that. Breathing is breathing exercises are an incredible tool for regulating your nervous system. Just, I swear to you, like even before an interview, if I do 4 box breaths where I'm just like, and hold, and exhale, and hold, 4 of those bad boys, my heart is going from like 175 beats per minute to like 20. I'm cool, calm, collected. Big me's back online. Little me's, I'm like, I got you, girl, don't worry. I mean, even though it's like a good, fun thing, like a job interview, like it can be exciting, it's new, it can still be scary. Like anything that's you're even just like excited about in a positive way, those breaths can help you regulate. So yeah, so that's step 3. Step 4 is, so step 1, meet your inner child. Step 2, listen to what they have to say. Step 3, regulate and self-soothe your nervous system, especially specifically when triggered. Step 4 is do things you used to love doing as a child, aka give yourself inner child play dates where you get to just let yourself be a kid, be curious, be goofy, be cringy, be like all the things. I said reconnecting with your sense of childlike wonder and play is one of the fastest ways to feel connected to your inner child. Facts. Because it doesn't have to, it's not all just wounding. It's like, okay, your inner child wounds is like the core of all of the pain and hurt, but your inner child's light is the core of all the joy you have and will experience, right? I said, even though childhood is where your core wounds live, it's also where our core joy lives. Accessing that joy and creative life force is just as important as looking at the wounds. Facts. It's not all this or not all that. It's both. It's almost like the yin and the yang. It's almost like perfection unfolding. So I then say, the more you connect with the side of yourself, the more whole and loved both you and little you will feel. It also opens up opportunities to live a richer and more full life because your childlike curiosity will be online, driving the car. So I think of like the joy of your inner child being online, like driving the car is like when your parents are like a mile away from your house and they put you in their lap and they ask you, "Do you want to drive?" And you say, "Yeah." And you're driving the car, but like your parents' hands are on the wheel and you're just kind of like touching it. That's kind of what I visualize when I read the words your childlike joy is online, because it's like it's a collaboration now, Um yeah, it's when your childlike curiosity will be online, leading you to be open to new experiences and relationships. Um yeah, do things that you used to love doing as a kid. Do things that make you giggle and get you excited. Like, there's nothing I love more than just wandering around. There's nothing I love more than uh, dancing with kids. Dude, my favorite, and my friends can attest to this, my favorite activity to wear a child out is a dance party. We're all dance. And really, I'm going to sit there doing this, and they're going to dance. But there are times when I be breaking it down. I be breaking it down. And it just brings me so much joy, just giggling and being silly and making up stories and just playing. Just playing. I just love it. I love playing pretend. I love making up situations and doing little bits, specifically with kids, because like they are children, so they're connected to that childlike play. So yeah, step 4, do things you used to love as a child. Inner child play dates, like go to the art museum, go to a dance class, go pick up a new instrument, learn salsa, do something. Just do something where your joy is online, your creativity, your curiosity. Travel is a big one for people, like where their inner child comes out, because they feel more free to be who they really are in places where nobody knows them. And I get that. So last but not least, step 5 is notice when your inner child is healing. So step 1, meet our inner child. Step 2, listen to what they have to say. Step 3, regulate the nervous system. Let them know they're safe. Step 4, do things that you used to love doing as a kid. And step 5, notice when your inner child is healing. So this is the step where you start to recognize like, oh shit, like my inner child is like feeling safe and I'm feeling like I can take more risks and like I'm not sabotaging my life and like I feel healthy and I feel more whole and I feel more loving and I feel more loved, right? And there's an example in here that I took from the article. And she says, notice when your inner child's healing. For example, let's imagine that when you text your partner, they don't respond. Their lack of response then triggers feelings of abandonment and neglect. When this happens, you get angry and respond with a passive-aggressive text message. Or you get sad and automatically think something is wrong or they might be breaking up with you. Guilty as charged. Bro, I freaking hate this shit. I mean, I can't even talk because I literally, yeah, I be leaving people on red all the time, but not in the middle of asking a question. It's like because the conversation kind of came to a stopping point. You know what I mean? I'm not rude, but this happened to me all the time in my last relationship. Like my ex was notorious. The whole day would go by until I got a response and I'm like, I was asking you a question. If I was just sharing a meme, that's fine. But I'm asking a question and you're taking hours to respond to me? Yeah, didn't like that. I had to work through that a lot. I had to really sit with myself and just trust that it didn't mean anything and that that's just the way that he was and that, you know, when I saw him later that day, it would be like nothing happened, right? Whereas like the wound of neglect was like, he's never coming back. He doesn't like me, blah, blah, blah. You know, I would tell a story. Now, granted, was that habit quite annoying? Did it annoy me? Yeah, it did. It did. Could he have done a better job? Yeah, he could have. He could have. But my work that I was doing on my end was like, I need to trust that he says what he means what he says. And if he doesn't, I will cross that bridge when we get there. That's how I self-soothed little me. I said, listen, everything's okay. This is what's happening. This is how I'm going to handle it. We're good. Like, no one can abandon you anymore. I got you. I'm here. And so the way we know we're healing, it gives an example. It says, instead of giving into catastrophic thinking and feelings of abandonment, you talk yourself through it, which is what I did. You tell yourself this isn't a sign to respond with insecure texts, because nobody likes that. That's just embarrassing. And then you feel like ashamed that you even sent the text in the first place. Like how pathetic am I, you know? You tell yourself this isn't a sign to respond with insecure text, but to calm and comfort yourself in that moment and to be able to work through it in a new, productive, healing way. Which the example I gave, I think I did that. I think I had a conversation with myself. I said, this does not mean what you think it means. This is just something that's happening, and you know, and I got you. Everything's good. And so then it also says, you know, you're healing your inner child when, and it has a list. It says, when you can self-soothe when conflict comes up, major key, and not just crash out and freaking scream and yell and break up the first second of discomfort, you know. B, you use healthy coping mechanisms when responding to uncomfortable situations, i.e., no more binge eating, self-harm, acting out, you know, disappearing. C, you openly express your needs instead of internalizing grief, guilt, or shame. Dude, I thought I had this in the bag. I thought that I don't do this anymore. But I do in certain situations with certain people. Like, because I realized I don't feel safe expressing my needs, because if and when I have expressed my needs, I was met with defensiveness and or a little bit of gaslighting, and I don't even think it was on purpose, but it's just kind of like there's certain like times, places, and spaces where these kind of old things come up, and I'm realizing, oh, it's just like because we're incompatible. You know what I mean? Like it's not a problem of like me or them. It's like we're just incompatible in this way because you don't know how to meet my needs. Like I could tell you and you still wouldn't be able to. You know what I mean? Because like either you don't understand or you don't have the skill set, what have you. And that in that situation, there's no villain. We're just incompatible. It sucks, but it's true. So yeah, so you openly express your needs instead of internalizing grief, guilt, or shame. D, you can identify your emotional triggers and work through them, aka talking yourself off the ledge by grounding yourself in reality, or deep breathing / nervous system regulation tactics. Yeah, you can acknowledge when you're triggered and you can self-soothe your way through them. And then the last one, it says you act or react differently than you would in the past, aka where you used to shut down in the face of conflict, now you speak up for what you need. So these are all signs that your inner child is healing. Like when you start making different choices, when you start being able to increase the time between being triggered and reacting to the trigger. I think that's like the hardest part of all of this is like when you're never going to not be triggered. Like your inner child wounding, even though you're doing this work to heal it, it still exists. Like it's still, I do think that there's going to be a time where and I've experienced this where certain triggers don't even faze me. I'm not even triggered by them anymore. Things that, like that texting thing, that doesn't even faze me anymore. Like, if you want to text me back 8 hours later, that's fine. It's not my preference. I don't like that. I'm going to tell you that I don't like it. But I'm not going to sit there and think that you're abandoning me. Like, live your life, king. You're going to make whatever choice you want. Do I like that in relationship? No. But do I know that about myself now and I'm going to speak up about it? Yes. And that's how I know I'm healing. And the last thing it says here, well, two things. It says, healing your inner child is about revisiting your values and morals and asking yourself what you need right now to feel safe, loved, and supported. It's about identifying what you need to get your needs met and identifying where your needs are not being met. Yeah. And that's it. Like, that is the work. It's step 1, meeting your inner child. Step 2, listening to what they have to say. Step 3, doing the work to learn to self-soothe and regulate your nervous system in times of being triggered and just in general. Step 4, do things that your inner child used to love doing, that you love doing. And step 5, notice when you're healing and give credit where it's due and give yourself grace and praise and just be so proud of yourself because this is not for the faint of heart. This is a long list. It's an hour and 18 minutes so far of just talking about what the steps are. So the work itself is work, you know? Nobody said this is going to be easy. But this is like, in my opinion, the most important work. Like, it is the root cause of all of your problems and also all your joy. And our goal is to access more of that joy. We gotta clean up the wound so we can access the curiosity and the joy and the fun stuff, you know? I put in here like a caveat. I said something to remember. The key to this work and something to remember is that we sometimes don't have access to our childhood memories if the trauma we experienced was significant and consistent. You know, CPTSD, things like that. This leaves adults with little memory of their childhood at a disadvantage when processing the feelings and the experiences they had when they were kids. But that's where somatic therapy can be helpful. It's when you're able to release the repressed emotions through the body, and the body's remembrance of those events, even though you don't cognitively remember it. And just because this kind of goes back to the concept of like the body keeps the score. So yes, like if you have complex, I wanted to make sure I touched on was like, if you do have complex post-traumatic stress disorder and or just like a lot of trauma that you don't even remember, you know, a lot of the inner child work, you know, talking about it in talk therapy, probably not going to be as helpful because the core thing that's still affecting you is like, it's that physical experience that you have when you're triggered, right? It's that physical experience of feeling unsafe. Your body remembers the feeling of unsafety and the repressed emotions, the feeling of the repressed emotions and how you couldn't speak your truth and you couldn't, you couldn't ask for help and you couldn't do anything about your situation. You lost total control, right? Or you didn't have any control over your situation. So somatic therapy is basically um it's body work, right? It's like releasing that trapped energy in your body and getting it out, like releasing it, expressing those emotions. Not necessarily because you cognitively remember, what happened to you, but it's releasing them from your body because it's your body it's those repressed emotions that are making you sick, that are so unhelpful. So that's just a little caveat. And I will have I am studying somatics right now. Fun little fact. I'm gonna tell you at the end of the pod. It's like a little treat instead of the beginning. Because I'm really interested in that. There are things about my childhood that I do not remember. Traumatic events that I do not remember. That I'm sure there's some stuff in there that I need to get out. And so because I don't have access to those memories and those experiences, I can't process them. Like I cannot, and the whole point of this work is to process what happened to you so that it can be released, right? So if you don't have access to it in your brain, well, your body is the next best thing. It's actually the better thing because that's where it got stored originally, and then, whatever. So that's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, I mean, of course, again, trauma and wounds, they have like varying degrees. So, um, I have a lot of access to a lot of my memories. So those things I've been processing and I've been dealing with. But I know that there's some stuff that, if you're one of those people who kind of think of your childhood in like little snapshots, my guess is that there's probably a lot of things that your body chose not to remember to protect yourself, right? Our body is an incredible mechanism. Like, and all of these coping mechanisms, again, all put there and all enacted to protect yourself. It's all preservation tactics. It's genius, really. Like, thank God I don't remember some of the stuff that happened to me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, thank God that was that was a tool that I didn't even need to turn on. It was installed for me. So yeah, so that is how you do the work. That is the steps I would take to begin your inner child work journey, to your journey to reparenting yourself, your journey to healing your inner child. Um yeah. And so I'll leave you guys with that. Again, just know, well, I'll leave you with this. Just know, like, radical self-compassion, radical self-acceptance, a little bit of courage, a lot of bit of grace. It's what's going to get you through this. It's what's going to help you. It's what's going to move the needle. Um, you're not going to be perfect at this. Your perfection is unfolding, my guy. That's the reason why it's not called perfection. Okay. Um, but we're trying to get to that perfect nugget of a soul that you have so that you can feel safe and so that you can play and so that you can love and so that you can enjoy your life for and squeeze the juice out of it to like the best of your capacity. That's what this work is for. I'm going to remind you of that every time. And that can be your North Star whenever it gets hard, right? I cannot tell you like how much self-awareness I have around my triggers, and I'm still fumble the ball. Like I still have moments of like wanting to be petty, and sometimes I am, and wanting to crash out, and sometimes I do. And you just have to hope and pray that like the people around you have grace for you as well. And also, when you take responsibility for your actions, right? Like if you do crash out, and if you do have unhelpful behavior in a time where you were triggered, where your inner child was driving the car, it's important for you to repair, which repair is going to be a whole other topic for a whole other episode. But yeah, but know that you can do it, know that it's worth it, and know that it's not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you that much. But I believe in you, and I hope it changes your life. I hope you get out of it all the things that I've gotten out of it. Which is just a deeper sense of love for myself, a deeper sense of purpose, a deeper sense of wholeness. I feel more whole now that I'm connected to little me because everything I do is for her. The same way a parent talks about their kid, that's how I feel about my inner child. Like that's my dog. I would die for that girl. She's amazing. She's so cool. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life letting her know. I'm going to spend the rest of my life, like everything I do for her. It's crazy. Like the way that I think about my inner child, that is my kid. And if that makes me nuts, that's fine. But I think it's so funny because ever since I've done this work, like I have no more need to have my own children. I think it'd be really cool. I think I would love the experience of being a mother, of like mothering children. But I have no need for it anymore. I thought that was something that I needed when I was younger. And now I'm like, I have a kid. I take care of her every day. I make all of her meals. I shower her. I put her to bed. I exercise with her. We make art together. Like, I have a kid. And I have like the best kid because she's me, you know? I don't know. It's just this level of unconditional love I can't really explain or describe that I have for myself in that way through that lens. And I feel like some people have such a hard time loving themselves, but when you introduce this kind of angle of loving themselves, it's a lot easier because it's like children are so innocent and so perfect, and how can you not love them? How can you not see the magic that they have and that they hold and all the light in their eyes, you know? So, that's all I have for you guys today. That is the third installment of the Inner Child series. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what parts. DM me. I mean, no one's gonna email the pod at this point, but if you want to email me, you can shoot a message over to perfectionunfoldingpod@gmail.com. Yeah. Comment on this video. Let me know your favorite part. What part resonated with you? What part you're excited about? I want to know if you do the YouTube meditation, what happens? Like what happened? Like what you got out of it? Like did you cry? Like what happened? Tell me in the comments, shoot me a DM, send me an email, and share this episode with someone you think could really use it. Yeah. You can always follow me on Instagram at Cara G. Campbell. You can follow the pod at Perfection Unfolding Pod. And shop the merch. Get this t-shirt. I want to see more people wearing it. Like it really is so thick and so nice. And um I just love wearing perfection unfolding on my chest. There's just something so magical about this phrase and about this podcast and just about like it's something that's bigger than me and I can't even explain it. Like I just feel like it's just my job to bring it to life. Um so yeah, I love you guys. I'm honestly gonna cry. Like this has been such like a this topic, like talking about oh my god, talking about my inner child and like ugh, how it's changed my life is really like it's crazy to think about. It makes me really emotional. Cause who would I be if I didn't do this work? You would not be sitting here like watching me do this podcast if I hadn't have done this work with little me. Like, ugh. Little Cara is so cool, bro. She's so funny and goofy, and we really have been wearing tie-dye since day one. Like, there's just something about it. Like, everything is just coming together so in a way that I can't even like describe or take credit for. I just know like I feel called to do this and to share this, and I really hope it helps you. Oh my god, I'm crying. Okay, I gotta go. I love you guys. Bye.